Herschel, Hayem Kotzev Amalochem Aruba. It's the days that are between Yuta's Kislev and Hanukkah. They're very special days. Gehoiben and Gehoiben Ateg. Baruch Hashem, we had a beautiful Shabbos with Shabbos Shekule Verbrengen. We verbring Friday night and Shabbos day, and last night Motzei Shabbos. I hope the Erlam enjoyed the Verbrengen last night.
Don't forget the link.
Moshe, you were there, right? No? You were home?
We're sure you'll give the link. I'll get the link.
Okay.
Immortal words.
A woman asked if she could take a pedicure and have two people working at her hands at the same time. Two women. One is going to work on one hand and one on the other hand.
Yeah.
So what's the question? I'll tell you the truth. I worked very hard to find the answer to the question. I didn't find it.
Yeah, what's the question? What's the question?
I didn't find. So if someone could help me out. The only thing there is talk in the beginning of Shulchan Aruch, and the Alter Rebbe brings it also. And the Madura Bas and Simon Beis, Alpia Kabbalah Yesh Lizar Melilbush Beis Malbushim Yachad Pnei Shekosha L'Shikcha. It's brought, but if you look in the Nogid Mitzvah, which brings from the Arizal, so he explains there's a miltza b'taima that it's not stam because two people are working on you or two. The idea is because the beged is a orchit makif is makif. Beged is makif, like, and he sort of says like the inside of the beged is pnimi. The outside of the beged is makif, and it's brought that oira makif mesame einich etzoinim, that the makif has a very strong power. Now, if a person gets involved in not such good stuff, the clip is around them, malafafosli, they look to get in. But the oira kedusha, which is soiviv, which surrounds him, doesn't allow the klipa to get into the person. So if you have two begodim that are touching each other, so there isn't a sufficient oir makif going around every beged. It's quite esoteric.
I don't understand. She has two hands, right? And the person's working, two people working on the same hand or the other hand?
Oh, that's the same. What you don't understand, I don't understand.
Mother said that two people shouldn't dress a child. It's like
I know. That's why I'm looking. Because my Bobby always used to say that two people shouldn't dress the same child. And I said that the same, but I can't find. I'm not saying it.
Pedicure, manicure.
But when you're dressing a baby, Bobby said, I can't find it. I didn't say. I said I did a combination of at least 30 searches, and I couldn't find it. My not finding it is nishken raya. I don't think so. But could be tomorrow I'll tell you I made a mistake and I found it. I know. No, this woman is asking because of what someone just said.
Right.
That the Bobby always used to say not that two people shouldn't be masasik and dressing the baby at the same time.
Why is that?
Reason why?
Why?
The Tahara.
Yeah, they say because the Tahara is done that way.
What's them?
Because the Tahara is done that way. Because a few people work together.
They clean him.
Yeah. That's true. First of all, I have to find that thing. And then if it's true, and the reason is because of Tahara, then again, it doesn't apply over here. Putting on makeup over here. What's the dimyan? Over there, they're being malbish. They're also washing. Over here, they're cutting off the nails and they're rechveis. Could be okay. So you know what? Let me find first the market of that. Well, the Baba Mice. I'm not saying a chasron. When I say, I'm not saying in a derogatory ways. We know that the Rashba brings minig nashim skenas, and the Rebbe used to read not to laugh, but you have to find is it taka from Klal Yisrael a minig nashim skenas from Klal Yisrael, and that there is a reason for it. So even though it's not brought in Shas, okay, but there is certain respect to it, and if not, okay. Here. Oh, you got one ready. Okay.
Good. You sit here.
So I want to do two questions. One about Shabbos candle and one about Hanukkah candle. The reason I'm doing Shabbos candle is because it has to do with the Shiloh we dealt last week. And we're very excited that we did over the past year, the second Pedic in the Masechah Shabbos. And last year before Hanukkah, we did the halachas of Ner Hanukkah. And throughout the year, we did the halacha of Ner Shabbos. And now we're finishing like a sandwich with Ner Hanukkah. So just someone asked me the Shaila of Punkt. He asked that, and I said I'll talk about it Sunday. So first is a lot of times a man has to light Shabbos candles. There's many times it happens that a man has to light Shabbos candles.
So the wife is not home.
The wife is not home. He traveled. There should be you do an almond or a gorush.
Man traveled, but his wife at home is lighting. Guest light where he is also.
Many times, usually yes. I don't want to go into the halachas, but when a man is lighting, shaila is like this. The way the women do it is that they make the bracha, they cover their eyes, and then they uncover their eyes to enjoy the glow of the light. The shaila is if the men should do the same thing. And Siman Ayin Dalad that Rabbi Avraham Chaim Noen Bader Shulchan says that the Alter Rebbe says not to be mechalik. So it's mashra from the Alter Rebbe, man and woman are equal. I think it's a mistake. I think that it's a dova poshet and shas that every mitzvah has to be done over l'asiyos. You make the bracha before you do the mitzvah. Even certain mitzvahs that don't expire. L'mashal, tefillin. You're supposed to make the bracha before you put on tefillin. If you didn't make the bracha, as long as you're wearing tefillin, you can still make the bracha. Look at tefillah, you should make the bracha before you put on tefillin. The same thing with sukkah. You should make the bracha. You should make the bracha before you sit in the sukkah. If you already sat down and you had your suda, it doesn't matter. You could still say the bracha. So the same thing here.
Yeah, but why is it when you bench? Benching is one thing.
Shabbos candle, they light food.
So I want to review it. That's a little bit to do with what we spoke about last week. And let's look inside this the second thing on the page, second paragraph. The Alter Rebbe writes. Oh, sure. Well, if a person is lighting a Shabbos candle, a Yom Tov candle, regardless if it's a man or woman, so you have to make before you do the mitzvah, you have to make the bracha, Shabbos, or Shel Yom Tov. By the way, Chabad minig is Ner Shel Shabbos Kodesh. Okay. Derech shemavorchem al short kol mitzvahs medivrei soifrim over liasiyosim. Just like every mitzvah, and even if it's a mitzvah medivrei soifrim, that still the bracha is over liasiyosim. B'dikas chametz a mitzvah derabanan. You have to make the bracha over liasiyosim. V'minig shemavorchem achad loka. L'fisha soifrim. They think. The women think that if they're going to make the bracha first, they're going to be Mekabel Shabbos. It's also for them to light. Is that true? No, the Alter Rebbe doesn't think it's true. But because the women think that way, so we don't want to play games with this, because in the women's mind, this is a very serious thing. Now, the truth is that there are goyim that hold that Kabbalah Shabbos is through Hadlokas and Neidos. We don't hold that way. We hold that Kabbalah Shabbos is through Tefillah. But be it as it may, that the women decided that Kabbalah Shabbos is through Adlokah, that's not the issue. The issue is that they also made it's kilo a mistake. Besides the fact that they paskin like the Goyin and we don't paskin that way, that the accepting Shabbos through that Adlokah, they think it's through the Brach. And they think it's like impossible. It's a catch-22. How are you gonna make the bracha l'hadlik ner shel Shabbos kodesh and then light the candle? Once you made the bracha, it's also to light the candle. They think that the Kabbalah Shabbos that's associated to that loka has to do with the bracha, even though that's a mistake. So therefore, they make the bracha first, and also Yom Tov. In order for the bracha, she doesn't have pleasure from the light until after the bracha. It seems in the original minig that Ramah brings the women used to go like this in front of the candle. They used to cover the candle. Today the minig is that the women cover their eyes. Someone said a svara last week that the women want to be, it's not just to cover the glow of the candle, that it's the woman wants, they want a peaceful moment going into Shabbos, to be Mesiachid, to ask Bakoshes from the Rebbeinu Shalom v'chulu. Okay. We spoke about this last week, that L'choida, the women have a minute to say a Yirot and say a Broch in between, and L'choida it's a Hefsek. I saw an article afterwards in the Oris of Yudim. So over there, Chosheve Hamathofim writes, Shuve Irani, She'ev Shalemesh, Zadem Ladin Atilis Yadayim, Shekim Shemavarch Bachim Atilis Yadayim, Imak Pidim Kolkach Shalo Yehefsek Ben Atilis Yadayim Labroch, Kamoy Bishar Bechis and Mitzvahs. Al der Azabad Lokas and Ere Shik and Mitzvah ad Lok Vabroch Bachere, Lachen Ladai Kolkach Bamenis Hefsek. And he says that's wrong. Lani is daite in adimian oilo yofa, shinem a furish b'shulchan aruch l'menik shek mitzvah lokas nei Shabbos, ein ad loka b'lavadela nova tash mishloire ikra mitzvah, ela shad loki aschola v'achon la mitzvah zu, v'yochel levarach koidem ikra mitzvah and koidem shten aloy. So basically, this person saying that people are telling him, hey, wait a minute. Just like by Natilas Yadayim, the din is by Natilas Yadayim. The Gemara says, we spoke about it last week by Riches, that a ger has to make a bracha when he goes to mikvah. But he can't make the bracha before he toivels. Right now he's a goy. He's a goy. How could a goy make a bracha? So the Gemara says he should go to the mikvah, and after he goes out of the mikvah, then he makes the bracha on the tefillah. And the Rishonim say, so the minig is that every tefillah, the bracha is after. The minig today of women is that they
Make the bracha first, no?
no, they make one tefillah and then they make the bracha. Now, there's different minhagim. Some women are toivel 2 times, 3 times, 7 times. Okay, but so yeah,
Like you're saying, they light the candles and then say
they make the bracha later.
later.
Just like washing your hands, the same thing. The Tosfos says that sometimes a person washes his hands, but he can't make the bracha. He woke up in the morning, his hands are not clean. He went out of the bathroom, his hands are dirty. Those days they didn't have, all the things Baruch Hashem we have for sanitary reasons. So their hands when they came out of the bathroom could be dirty. So they can't make the bracha al natilas yadayim. So because you can't make it before, so you can make it after. And once you already can make after, shaloi lechalak, we say, I don't care if you're washing for challah, for a moitzi, for a bagel, for the morning. We always make the bracha al natilas yadayim after. Once you don't make it before, make it after, so you make it after.
The candles, first you're lighting the candles, then you say the blessing walking in Shabbos.
Yeah.
If the blessing first, then how could you violate the Shabbos by lighting candles?
That's what the women think, exactly.
Am I right?
The women think that if they made the bracha first, that would be a violation of Shabbos, because once they made the bracha, that's the Kabbalah. Now, that's not true, because really the Kabbalah is through the actual lighting. The accepting of Shabbos is not through the bracha, it's through the physical lighting. But because in the minds of the women, that's the way it is, so they can't make the bracha before, so therefore,
So somebody made a mistake that they're okay.
they make the bracha after. So I think, let's read one more piece. The Kuntas Achron and the Alter Rebbe writes, Hine, Lefi Mashakosov, it's the 4th paragraph on the page. Lefi Mashakosov HaMogam V'rom Esima Kufn U'Chez, V'chein Mefurish B'Gemore Perek Zayin the Brach. So Dafka K'shaloi Levorach Koil HaMasiyah, V'loi Beidach, Lo Yevorach Achekach. Avo K'shaloi Yehavshel Levorach Tchila, Yochel Levorach Achekach. If a person could not make the bracha before, he could make the bracha afterwards. If it's something that, no, you could have made the bracha before, even the nitche itche. If you could have made the bracha before and you didn't, so you lost the bracha. But if a mitzvah that you had no choice, you can make it afterwards. Zog dal tereba chidush. Mahai time yesh lema. Sha'af shehisik hifsik harbe. Doch levorach. There is a gvul yesh ledavar. That even if you made a long hefsik, you could still make the bracha. Even if it's an hour or 2 hours later, anytime. Any mitzvah that if you couldn't do before, you can do it after. Yeah, that's what this is the words. I would soon say my pshat here.
But benching is a chiyuv to bench.
The benching was a different thing. Benching You have to eat. You have to bench as long as the food
It has to
isn't
be time. It's
digested.
a certain amount of time.
No, as long as the food is not digested, you could. That's a different thing. But when you do a mitzvah, and you have to make a bracha, you have to make the bracha before the mitzvah. That's what to make a bench the Eibush. As long as the food didn't digest, you make a bracha. But otherwise, any mitzvah you have to make the bracha before the mitzvah. If you didn't make the bracha before the mitzvah, and you already did the mitzvah, you lost the bracha. But if it's something that you had no choice, so then you can make the bracha afterwards. And once you can make it afterwards, we say Eza Gvul Yesh B'Dober. Just like Ravina said, we don't pass in this way. But the Ravina said if you didn't make hamoitzi and you finished eating, you could still make hamoitzi. It's masha from the Gemara that we don't. Probably before you benched. You have to look in the sugi. We don't pass in like Ravina anyway. The Alter Rebbe is just bringing a raya that Eza Gvul Yesh B'Dober from Ravina. In Keren, who adin kan she'ef shalavarach betchila lefi aminig. She'ef shalavarach betchila lefi aminig. Why is Alter Rebbe saying she'ef shalavarach betchila lefi aminig? Because it's only according to their minig. It's not according to Rabbi Goen. Because Rabbi Goen wouldn't have a problem with this. It's only the women's minig that they decided that it's Rabbi Goen plus.
Yeah, in the Shea Convention?
Yeah,
They had
they had in the Shea Convention, yes. Yes.
How do they know about it? Yeah.
Yes, in the Shea Convention. Last night in the Shea had a Chabad, had an event. It was sold out. And there was so much people that wanted to come, they put up a tent. They had over 2,000 women that came. Yeah, for a Fabrengen.
In the cold, is it it's outside in the cold?
Yeah. And it's an unbelievable power. It was unbelievable Fabrengen. So Baruch Hashem, very nice. In Cain,
Where was it?
they did it in the Beis Rivka Hall. You know, like when they do a lot of these things online. You know, you see that's you know, on COVID when they did that solo thing was done there. Okay, let's continue. In Keno adin kan chef shelavar atchila lefi aminig in kan afshir sika harge achikach ein levar klum. V'frat hachi yeshlam de mikro evel asasun shein enenes mehor ad lacher broch k'machkos avrama. The Alter Rebbe is saying that if you couldn't make the bracha before, you make the bracha afterwards. Frat over here, really, she's making the bracha before the mitzvah. The bracha is to enjoy the light. She made the bracha, she covered her eyes, and then she enjoys the light. Why did Alter Rebbe have to look up his own reading? What's not good with the Shulchan Aruch? The Ramon the Shulchan Aruch says that it's considered oivelas yosim. Why did Alter Rebbe have to cook up his own lamdas? The Shulchan Aruch says, so someone already said last week that maybe that I'm more retrofitted a minute, but well, the Alter Rebbe is saying a different reason the Shulchan Aruch. Why? So the answer is like this. You have to read weiter in Kuntas Achron. The Alter Rebbe brings in Kuntas Achron a taina in the Rishonim. The Rishonim said had a machloikis if you make a bracha and you're lighting the candles. Why? Because the Gemara never brings this bracha. So Rabbeinu Meshulam said from the Balai Techosher Balai Toisvus, he's brought many times. He said, no, you can't make a bracha. He says, I don't understand why you're going to make a bracha. He says, when you're doing the Maisa Hadloka, there's no mitzvah. That's nothing. That's only like a achona for the mitzvah. It's nothing. And when you're enjoying the light, you're not doing a Maisa. So what's your bracha shal? What's your bracha? So that he answered him, no. That he answered, Shiny Hocha Sharoim B'miyad Lishtamish. What's the Mishula had a good question, and what the Ribal Atoisus answered is not clear. The Alter Rebbe said, I'll tell you what he asked. What he answered. The Gemara says a klal kol aroi lebila im bila makeves boy. I have this argument with my kids whenever they see me make chont. The kids laugh because they say, Tati, you have to mix it. So I said, no. The Gemara says kol aroi lebila im bila makeves boy.
What's bila?
Bila means to mix.
Oh, mix.
The Gemara says we have always the same thing. Kids can't stop laughing. They say it's Tati's thing, but they said, but you have to mix the ingredients. And I say, what do you have to mix? There's enough room in the pot. If I wouldn't mix it, it would get mixed itself.
Yeah.
So the Gemara says, Kol harei lebila ein bila makeves boy. So I said, you'll see Shabbos by day when the chont will come out. It'll all be the same if I do mix it, if I don't mix it. So why should I waste my time and mix it? In their mind, it doesn't work. You have to mix.
The whole name challenge is like it's a challenge.
So the Alter Rebbe says, no, it's a geschmacka concept. Has to do with, with the menachos. So it's a very geschmacka concept. So it's a nice way of teaching it. So the thing is, the Alter Rebbe says, when you light the Shabbos candle, automatically the light is going to come later. The bracha is on the Maisa Hadloka. But the Hanukkah comes automatically. The Hanukkah comes automatically. The Hanukkah comes me'ela v'me'ela. It's like Kollel labila ein bila ma'keves boy. So therefore,
what do you would say in Hanukkah candle?
the Hanukkah candle is something else. It's not for Hanukkah. Over there's no taina. Over there, the bracha is right. Over there for Pesum and Nisa, and over there. And by the way, by the menorah, it's taken mefurish in the Gemara to make the bracha. But here it's not mefurish. Rabbi Mishulam said no, and then he said, yeah. And the Alter Rebbe says why? Because the ma'asad loka you do that's the mitzvah. So really, according to this, no, for sure not. Rabbi Mishulam probably his wife listened to Rabbi Mishulam. Not only his wife, this time his whole kehillah. The point on the Shulchan Aruch we pass him like Didi. The Shulchan Aruch passes like Didi. But the Alter Rebbe. So what I'm saying is that you see from that the Alter Rebbe is saying that the bracha really is on the Maisa Hadloka. So therefore, the answer that the Shulchan Aruch gives, that really the bracha is on the Anoah, it goes. So if you're going to tell me that, you're back to the question of Rabbeinu Mishulam. So therefore, the Alter Rebbe preferred to say that we have no choice. That Chazal said you have to make the bracha before, and you lost the bracha if you didn't. That's only if you had the option. But for whatever reason, if you didn't have the option, because the women in their mind, once you make the bracha, you can't light the Shabbos candle. So once you don't have the option, you could make after. Once you can make after, you could make the bracha even much after. That's why the Alter Rebbe cooked up his reason. Now, why did the Alter Rebbe have to say even a long time after? Because the Alter Rebbe was saying, well, one of the things the Alter Rebbe said that women, they used to go light the Shabbos candle and then go to a chuppah or chasna. They used to make a lot. So one of the eitzes is that they would light the candle, not make the bracha.
Shabbos even chasna.
They used to make Friday night the meal. So they used to make they used to like an hour before Shkia, they used to make the chuppah, and then Friday night would be the meal of the chasna. So the women used to light the candle, not make the bracha, go to the chuppah, come back home, and then make the bracha. So the Alter Rebbe wants to justify, the Alter Rebbe says, the can't do, but the evidence culture. The Alter Rebbe wants to justify that. So that's why he says, Eze gevul, yesh bedover, that even it's 2 or 3 hours later, you could do it. Now, there are people, there is a Tila Ladover that has a big problem with the Alter Rebbe. With the Alter Rebbe, he says there's a katcha from 2 places. In Siman Vov, the Alter Rebbe says in the morning, the original minhag was people wash Nagelvasser, and then would walk to shul and say the brachas in shul. The Alter Rebbe says that that's not a good minhag. Why? Because you have to make the bracha before you wear al natilas yadayim. But because your hands are not clean, so you'll make it later. How much later? How much later? The best minhag is to say the brachas al natilas yadayim asher yotza and l'kain neshama in the house right after. If you couldn't make the bracha before, make it after, but right after. So they did the mitzvah again, but the l'chayre. Once you did the mitzvah, how can you do the mitzvah a second time? Erchas b'nikoyim kapay. But if the kapayim didn't keep on metunif the emes in between, so what's the new thing? So therefore, the Alter Rebbe says the minig hogon is really to not wait till you go to shul. At least these 3 brachas. The point in Chabad say everything in house. But at least these 3 brachas to say in the house. Then the Alter Rebbe says, and Kim Nesim Kuf Notes, that if a person washed for a meal and didn't say al natilas yadayim, and then ready made a moitz and he started to eat, he can't make the bracha al natilas yadayim any longer. And he says a few reasons, and one of the reasons is that if you can't make the bracha before, you can make it after. But how long after? Ain't svara klal that you should be able to make it forever after. So the Tila David says, I don't understand. Like Alter Rebbe contradicts himself. In one place he says, once you can't make the bracha before, you can make it after. 2 hours after is also good. And in the other place, he says, if you can't make it before, you have to make it after, but right after.
Because you can have a novel when you sit at the ceiling.
So there's a few reasons you could answer, but the emes is all the answers that you could give, but Lapoil, by Natilis Yadayim, he says that only Lechatchila you should try, but he doesn't say that the people that are running to shul and saying it a half hour later are as a bracha levatola. So therefore, I would say like this: there's a cloud that the Alter Rebbe, when he wrote things in brackets, he wanted to think about it. By a Suda, he was not sure about this svara. You could say opposite svara. You could say if you can't make the bracha before, you should make it after. Once you make it after, 3 hours after is also kosher. Or you could say no, you have to make it before. So you can make it after, make it right after. So it was a stuff lagabe eating. So once you wash your hands, you finish the mitzvah. That's strike number one. It's not like candles where you still nana. Strike number two is you already started the meal. So, and on top of that, the Alter Rebbe wasn't even sure, but he wrote it in brackets that there's. So there, with all together, all in all, he says once you start eating, you shouldn't make the bracha.
Should be done as soon as possible.
It should be done as soon as
That's
possible.
the answer.
But here the Alter Rebbe wants to be makel for the woman. So and the woman, every Jewish woman wants to light Shabbos candles, and she wants to make a bracha. It's a terrible painful for a woman not to. And therefore, the Alter Rebbe brings up the svara that you could make the bracha much later. So that's why the Alter Rebbe wants to say, and that's it. So bottom line, now according to the Alter Rebbe, the bracha on the Shabbos candles is on the maisa of lighting the candles. Just that you can't make it before, so you make it after. Because according to the woman's mind, if she made the bracha, once she made that bracha, that's it. It's Shabbos. She can't. Just like the Gemara says, Lagabi Ager, and the Tosfos learned from that, Lagabi Natilas Yadayim. It's not Mefurish in the Shas. It seems that the Alter Rebbe holds that it's a general rule in Chazal. It doesn't matter why. It's a mistake from the women, but it doesn't matter. If for this thing that you lost the bracha is only if you're negligent. But if in your mind it's impossible, the woman says, what do you mean? If I make the bracha, Shabbos kodesh, it's Shabbos. If I'm going to light the candle after that, I'm a chal Shabbos. Oh, so you know what we said? Well, you have no choice. So you know what? You can make the bracha after. If you can make it after, you can even make it 3 hours after.
What happens if somebody, let's say, is traveling, wants to light the candles in the house? So let's say she lights the candles, let's say an hour before, gets in the car, goes somewhere. Sunset.
Oh, that's a big problem. We'll deal with it. It's a good question, but I deal with it a little later or after the year. It's a problem.
Sometimes you're in a hotel and
it's a big problem. We'll deal with it soon. It's a very good question. I just want to finish off this point. So I would say by a man, it doesn't apply this thing. Men are b'chal not mekabel Shabbos through hadlokas hanedus. And the men never made this mistake, even if a man who thinks it's through hadloka, he never, not through the bracha, it's through the hadloka. So therefore, but you're supposed to do over lasiyos and the bracha.
Kitrug is not like showing the
For the women, it's not a kitrug. Why is there a kitrug on the women?
showing the foolish.
No. The only time you could say is that you shouldn't be machal. There's a concept of just like banatilas yadayim, that you shouldn't be machal. But I don't know.
To, say light the candles, then say the bracha. Make sure in the siddur.
Right, it says in the siddur, but that's for women. But if you remember when we started the sugya a year ago, the Magen Avraham brings a story. The Smeh, his mother said that Shabbos you have to light the candles and then make the bracha. By Yom Tov, what's the problem? You can make first the bracha and then light the candles.
Yom Tov, you don't have the time.
Yom Tov, what's the problem? You're allowed to light on Yom Tov. It's a tzorech Yom Tov. You're allowed to.
No, Yom Tov, you light the candles 2-3 hours later.
But true that, but she also spoke about that. But so the Magen Avraham says, "Ein chochma leisha." The Gemara says, "Ein chochma leisha ela beplach." There's no chochma to a woman. So I think I spoke about it then that the Mnoid Behuda says that it's not true. The wife of the Smeh, the mother of the Smeh was a very smart woman, and that
we're going to have the beginning of Sarah.
yeah. And he explains why she was right. He said, if you're going to say in lachalak, because then l'davasof, also by Hanukkah, and also by men, it's yesh lachalak. Okay, but the Machzah Shekel said, what does it mean? Ein chochma leisha. He does not that the wife chas v'sholem of the Smeh is not smart. a woman Erev Shabbos bein hashmoshes that's holding one baby here and the other baby here, and it's screaming to her husband, Reuven, remember to put up the chont, and remember to set the clock, the Shabbos clock on the oven, and remember to turn off the light in the refrigerator. And under pressure. Now you have to tell her Shabbos Azoy Yom Tov. Just give me one simple thing that'll always be foolproof Shabbos Yom Tov, and that's it. I asked my children which pshat is more offensive to women. They said for sure, if you want to say Chochmah Isha means that the woman Erev Shabbos Bein Hashmoshes is rolling around like a chicken without a head, that's not offensive to a woman. But if you want to say that Ein Chochmah Isha meant that the wife or the mother of the Heilige Smeh, even though he writes the whole Akdama that she was a very smart woman and she used to say Chidusha Torah at the table, and the Talmid Yeshiva used to listen and to be me'ayin in her Chidusha Torah. And now that the Magen Avram digs into her and says that Ein Chochmah, that's offensive. But otherwise, if you just want to say that the Erev Shabbos Ben Hashmoshes, the woman Hotnish King Popped at the thing, this and that, that's not offensive. All my daughter's Pech had said this was the better shot. This was the better shot. That's totally not. They wouldn't take any offense to this shot if that's a shot. Ein Chochmah Isha. So I would say that this is only. But why would you say the Ein Lechalek Ben Isha LeIsha? By Noshim Gufa, you would say Ein Chochmah LeIsha, and therefore you're not mechalek between Shabbos and Yom Tov. But why would you say by women it's an issue? Because over there, if Chas v'Shalom once Shabbos is going to work out wrong, so it could be a question of Chilul Shabbos. But by man, why would you say Ein Lechalek Ben Ish LeIsha? So I think there's nothing wrong if a man does it the way it's written in the Siddur. But I think in final analysis, I think that a man that lights Shabbos candle should make the bracha first and then light the Shabbos candle, and obviously for extra protection to have a fetish in mind that he's not being Makabel Shabbos through this Hadlokas Hanedis. Someone that's doing the other way is nothing wrong, but I think that's the way to do it.
So when the man Makabel Shabbos,
Like the women?
Yeah,
Yeah?
by a couple of Shabbos.
Or Wednesday comes up.
Huh?
Comes up.
Okay, listen, if the kids of Shulchan Aruch says, then
What?
After the person get
Oh,
okay.
don't freaking have the show.
Okay, that's if the kids Shulchan Aruch says, I still don't change my mind, but then it's for sure that there's a strong thing to someone that a person could say you don't want to be mechalik between Shabbos and Yom Tov, you don't want to be mechalik to the man and woman. I don't think so, because when you say this expression Ein Chochmah LeIsha, and you say the pshat is that a woman is not going to differentiate Shabbos and Yom Tov, so then why did you say Ein Chochmah LeIsha? You say Ein Chochmah Bazeh, We say Chochmah LeIsha, it sounds like you're talking about the woman, that the women, it's hard to differentiate Shabbos and Yom Tov. But you're not talking about Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. You should be running from one Enikol Simcha to the next.
Married, wherever need to zivut, wherever it's a baby.
Amen, 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 amen.
They're running.
Chaim says on. Sach Nachas. Okay.
Let's help to the tables guys, okay?
Okay, so just to summarize one more time, women have the minhag that Beim Shabbos, Beim Yom Tov, that they light the candles in the way the first they light and then they make the bracha. It's not over l'asiyosan, but the Alter Rebbe says it's not that bad. But by men, I think they should make the bracha first. But someone that still does it this way, mach nashtois. Because there is the other svara of the Ramad that says that since you're not nene from the candle till later, so it's considered over l'asiyosan. Someone asked me that his daughters want to light the Hanukkah candle. How bad is it that the daughters should light the Hanukkah candle? The short answer is it's not bad at all. And to make a bracha too, it's not that bad at all. The truth is, men and women have the equal. The Gemara says that the women were part of the nest, so men and women are equal. Why is it that L'Poel women don't make a bracha and don't light? So we spoke about it last year, that there is some sefer that says that there was originally this minhag that women weren't doing it is because it's nias. because they were going. Women is kol kvud avas melech pnima. So and now for the woman to go out in the Rishus Harabim and to light is it's against kol kvud avas melech pnima. Rabbi Tzvi Pesach Frank in the Sefer Mikroi Kodesh writes that he thinks l'chatchila, because a woman is going to get married and there'll be bracha the ishner b'ishu beisoi. So l'chatchila they were not mechayev a woman even though she's a girl and she's living in her own apartment. I think that the Tzvi Pesach Frank is a little bit of a chiddush that's a little out there. Some Sefer sounds more, but b'zman hazeh, what an issue tznius is there. First of all, the whole society is different. Women are, the Rambam says that the woman in his time, went out of her house, if it wasn't to the marketplace, went out to the place once a month. Women go out of the house today once a month. And even when they went out, they used to wrap up, the hajib. That's the way Yiddish women used to go out. Yeah. He says in Ori Edom, the Ashkenazi Jews, those women, they go out, like they're not, but Lepoil, that's, even in the days of the Rambam, he says 800 years ago, he's made that the Jewish women in the Ashkenaz communities are not walking out with hijabs.
So like Russian Schreier is a bad thing, or the judge, the Heimish judge?
No, that's I'm saying it's a good thing, and therefore, if the women are anyway out there, so it's not checked. This thing with sneeze is checked, and especially today, they're not doing a Pesach Beis Machutz. You're doing either in the house or you're doing on the window. It's not. This whole thing of sneeze is not checked. It's not something to talk about. Lemisha. But that's if the woman is doing it to be moitzer her husband. Now this person's asking me something else. His daughters want to light the menorah separate from him.
For herself.
The daughters want to light, not his wife.
Like today, you see a lot of families today.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the whole custom. But you see today, a lot of families, they have 8 in the road in the
Right.
house.
Right.
There was 1 year though.
So-
Rabbi said that women should light. There was 1 year.
Yeah. I have to look it up. It's true. So, Blina, this week, the time is short now. We'll get into it. Mamash, we're holding this way anyway. We're holding the Shulchan Aruch. There seems to be a machloikis mechaber amo. If a person is potter from lighting and he wants to light, the Shulchan Aruch says yesh emrim she'afa b'shem madlikin lav b'tech beise ibu mamakim she'em b'Yisrael madlik b'brachas k'chayiv liras aneris. But the Ramos is moisef and he says im roitz alahachim alatz alahadlik b'fnei atzmai madlik u'mavorech. Any person that wants to be machmir could be madlik. Mishnah Berurah brings a machloikis about this. And he says better.
What's the shadow? The Rob said before that the guys likes to light at home.
No, this guy, the daughters want to light.
What's the difference themselves for the family?
The bottom line is there's no difference. Boys and girls are the same thing. I see a lot of people write about it. And Kilo, there's a Havamina. I don't think there's any Havamina. The whole Havamina was if a person is not in his house and he's potter from lighting. And the shaila is you're really potter because you're ishta madlekas lov mishtat priti. Could you decide instead of Mishtat Prit, instead of my wife, that I really want to light myself? And that's a machloikis. And that's the machloikis. But that's the machloikis. And I want to prove it to Mitzvah when we learn it on Tuesday night, that even those that argue, that's in the case that a person is not home. And his wife is lighting for him in the house. So the shaila is, since he's not chayiv to light, could he decide, I'm not yoitza through my wife, and I want to light my own? And that's the machloikis. But if a person is with his wife in the house, and his sons and his daughters, and everyone wants to light, I mean, that's the poil the minute that we have by the Ashkenazim. Ashkenazim do like the Svardim, it's the whole koch about Hanukkah. The beauty of Hanukkah is that the Ashkenazim do like the Rambam, the Svardim do like Tosfos. So what's wrong? I don't see any problem at all. The whole discussion is when I'm not really chayiv, and I decide, you know what? I'm not really chayiv, but I want to light anyway. That's the machloikis mechaber amo. But the woman and her daughters are in the house, and they decided that why should boys be different than girls on this? I think that this is a mistake. The whole machloikis is only when a person is not chayiv, but a girl that's with. There's a father and a mother and a son and a daughter. Is anyone going to argue that the son, Azoy is minig Amadaban, and that's brought in Shulchan Aruch that way, minig Ashkenazim. So Taka, the girls are noyeg natu. The original meaning why the girls didn't lie is because of tznius, probably because it used to be done on Pesach and Beis Hamachutz. Because that minig it stayed that minig that way. But if a girl wants to light, now the one little caveat I would say: if a girl heard from her father the bracha, and she was yoitze, and then after her brother's lit, she said, "You know what? It's so much fun. I want to light." But if Machatchila, before the father lit, everyone knows that Hindele and Yiti and Miriam, they want to light their own candle. What's the problem? If Reuven and Yankala want to light their own candle, they could, and that's our minig. So why Lama Nigora? The women said Lama Nigora. It's not Nigora. There's no problem whatsoever.
And Bepola, what has been a Chabad down this Manazaf?
So
are women lighting who are 15 years old in the Chabad communities?
So I tell you what I tell I have one daughter. All my daughters are here when I light the candle, but there's one daughter that she likes to, like the same daughter who performed yesterday on stage and was singing for and entertaining and farbrengen for the women in the Sheikh Chabad. So she's also busy doing things while I'm lighting the menorah. The shaila is when she comes home, according to the Mordechai, if you were not there when they lit the menorah, when you see the menorah, you make the bracha Shasa Nisam Lavasenim, and that's a pshat in the Gemara. Problem is, it's not so clear what the Mechaber holds Ladina. So I tell her that I have in mind that she's not yoitza by me, and she can light her own menorah.
She eat before she has either sees it or.
Okay, don't worry about the eating right now. Let's worry now about the etzem menorah. She's not asking me about if she eat or not to eat. She's only asking, Tati, I'm not going to be by your menorah. Do you mind? I said, I don't mind. When you come home, I'm having in mind that you're not yoitza. You light your own menorah. You make the bracha. There's no shaila because then there's a shaila. If you were not there, you make the bracha sh'asam nisim. And the first day also shechiyonu. Is that the pshat in the Gemara or in Hanukkah? You know what? No shailas. I have in mind that you're not yoitza with me, and therefore you light your own menorah when you come home, and that's the best way to do it. That's the best solution. So
in your house you have just one menorah for the whole family.
Yeah, besides the kid, this daughter that usually is busy. Yeah, so she lights her own menorah. Why not?
But you're in the house. In your house.
In my house, I have one menorah. I light.
Yeah, that's what I heard also.
And then this daughter that's busy doing miftzayim, so she comes home later and she lights her own menorah. What's the big deal? So that's the bottom line. The bottom line is that if girls, I don't think it's kedai if a girl wants to light the menorah, I don't think this is where the person should chas v'sholem say that this is not what the Chassam Sofer meant. This is not it's because it's sanu. It's in the house today. It's a different thing. If your daughters want to light tov alei and brocha, have in mind that they're not part of your adloka. And let them light. And b'schus noshim tzedkonis, we went out of Mitzrayim, and b'schus noshim tzedkonis will go out of this bitter golus. B'mhedu b'meinu amen.
See the real menorah this week.
Amen.
Tuesday night is in little knock. You're going to give a share Tuesday night.
Tuesday night is Nittelnacht. Oy oy oy. Okay, well, what do we do Wednesday night?
You can become Litbox Tuesday night.
No.
Box Lord Torah.
No, chas v'sholem.
That'd be the front page news and they have to share.
On Tuesday. Don't you know? I used to Kislev Litbox become Chassidim, and on Little Box.
So 5 to 12 o'clock.
You can always rely on you.
No, it's toy. Because also, it's toy. Well, it's toy. The American.
It's always my grandfather. My father would tell me.
Oh, it doesn't say. So he might not have an opinion.
Listen,
My,
you wash?
You know,
grandfather
it-
would say
it's-
that they got me out.
You wash?
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to know.
Down to America.
Every place had a lot of people.
Fellow Russian.
So a lot of times he didn't have an opinion. He doesn't say. Not missing the macabre.
Reach. They would be
Yeah, so it could be sometimes he had.
But in America,
I wasn't the
situations like that, but
selling off the older churches.
You know what?
Yeah, for sure, she should. So she could eat.
we're gonna see the
Something to eat. Yeah, for sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and your wife will wait for you. What's wrong? No problem. If she wants.